My name is Diego, and I was there when James's story changed forever. It was a chilly, rainy afternoon on April 12, 2022, at the old cafe on Maple Street. James had just finalized her divorce from her ex-husband, a man who once promised her the world. As she stood at the window, watching the raindrops race down the glass, her heart felt heavy, yet oddly liberated. She smiled, a flicker of hope amid the storm, but the tremble in her hands betrayed the weight of her heartbreak. The earthy scent of rain on the pavement mingled with the distant hum of traffic, creating a bittersweet symphony that echoed her tumultuous emotions. How can blood turn to poison like this? What nobody knew was that the end of one chapter was merely the beginning of a far more dangerous story, one that would test the very limits of her resilience. Just a few hours earlier, she had gone to pick up her grandson from school, his laughter a stark contrast to the turmoil inside her. That innocent joy felt like a lifeline, yet it only deepened her sense of loss. She longed for the family she once had, a family now fractured by betrayal. Little did she know, the shadows of her past were lurking just beyond the cafe's warm glow, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The morning sun poured through the kitchen window, illuminating the remnants of last night's apple pie on the counter. The sweet aroma still lingered, a comforting reminder of family gatherings that had grown less frequent over the years. James stood by the coffee maker, the familiar sound of its gurgling filling the air, a soundtrack to his daily routine. As he poured himself a steaming mug, he took a moment to appreciate the simple pleasure of that first sip. Rich, bold, and just the way he liked it. At the local diner, the morning crowd buzzed with life. It was a ritual for James to sit at the same corner booth, a soft cushion beneath him, and watch the townsfolk come and go. There was something heartwarming about the way everyone seemed to know each other, sharing stories and laughter over plates of pancakes and bacon. The clinking of silverware blended with the sounds of birds chirping outside, creating a symphony of small-town life that he had come to cherish. "James, you're looking a bit lost in thought today," Susan called out as she slid into the booth across from him. Her bright smile was infectious, and he couldn't help but return it, even if the edges felt a bit frayed. "Just thinking about the kids," he replied, stirring his coffee absent-mindedly. "You know, I've been volunteering at the community center, teaching them how to read. It gives me hope for the future." "Oh my God, that's wonderful! Those kids are lucky to have you," she said, her eyes sparkling with admiration. James shrugged, feeling the warmth of her words. "I just want to make a difference, you know? It's important for them to know that someone cares." Susan nodded, her expression shifting to one of concern. "But how's everything else? You and Laura?" James sighed, the mention of his ex-wife casting a shadow over his mood. "We've had our ups and downs," he admitted, his heart sinking at the thought of their tumultuous past. "But I always thought we were on decent terms for the sake of Michael and the kids." "That's good to hear," she replied, though he could sense a hint of doubt in her voice. The conversation shifted to lighter topics, but in the back of his mind, James couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. As he finished his coffee, he resolved to pick up his grandson's jacket from the dry cleaner that afternoon, a small errand that usually brought him joy, a reminder of the bond he shared with the boy. Later that day, James arrived at the dry cleaners, the familiar bell chiming as he walked in. The scent of fresh laundry surrounded him, mingling with the faint whiff of cleaning solvents. He greeted the clerk with a smile, but his mind was elsewhere, thinking of the little moments he cherished with his grandson, like teaching him to ride a bike and playing catch in the yard. "Hi, I'm here to pick up a jacket for Ethan," he said, pulling out the ticket from his wallet. "Of course, Mr. James," the clerk replied, retrieving the jacket from behind the counter. As she handed it to him, he felt a strange weight in the pocket. "What's this?" he murmured, reaching in to pull out a folded piece of paper. His heart raced as he unfolded it, the words inside sending a chill down his spine. James read it twice, disbelief washing over him like a cold wave. The message was scrawled hastily. I can't keep this secret anymore. Laura has been seeing someone else. You deserve to know." His heart sank. The warm, inviting atmosphere of the dry cleaner faded away, replaced by a gnawing sense of betrayal. How could she? He had trusted Laura to put their family first, even after their divorce. The world around him blurred as anger and heartbreak collided in his chest. "What's wrong?" the clerk asked, concern etched on her face. Nothing," he stammered, stuffing the note back into his pocket. The walls seemed to close in on him, the vibrant sounds of the dry cleaner becoming muffled. As he left the shop, his mind raced. Thought, the smell of fresh laundry should have brought comfort, but all it did was amplify my heartbreak. He couldn't believe this was happening. Driving home, he replayed memories of happier times, moments when laughter filled their home. The image of his grandson's innocent face brought tears to his eyes. He wanted to protect Ethan from this turmoil, from the secrets that were now woven into their family's fabric. That moment at the dry cleaner changed everything. He realized he needed to confront Laura, to seek the truth behind her charm and deceit. The bright sun that had filled his morning felt distant now, overshadowed by the storm brewing in his heart. The bright sun that had filled his morning felt distant now, overshadowed by the storm brewing in his heart. As James pulled into his driveway, the familiar creak of the wooden porch steps greeted him, but today it felt more like a warning. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself, but the air was thick with anticipation and dread. "Hey, Grandpa!" Ethan's cheerful voice broke through his thoughts as the boy raced out of the house, his backpack bouncing against his back. "Did you get my jacket?" James forced a smile, the note still burning in his pocket. "I did, buddy. It's all ready for you," he replied, trying to mask the turmoil churning within him. The boy's innocence was a balm, yet it deepened his resolve to protect him from the brewing chaos. "Can we play catch later?" Ethan asked, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Of course, I'd like that," James said, ruffling his grandson's hair. But the thought of facing Laura loomed over him like a dark cloud. He needed answers, and he would not let fear dictate his actions. The front door creaked open, and Laura stepped out, a smile plastered on her face that felt too practiced, too perfect. "James, you're back," she called, her voice light as she approached. "Yeah, just picked up Ethan's jacket," he said, feeling the note's weight press against his thigh. "Great, I've been meaning to talk to you about—" "Laura," he interrupted, the urgency of the moment pushing him to take control. "We need to talk, now." Her smile faltered, replaced by a flicker of concern. "Okay, what's going on?" He took a step closer, lowering his voice. "I found something at the dry cleaner, a note. It says you're seeing someone else." The color drained from her face, and for a moment, the world around them faded. Even the wind chimes hanging by the porch fell silent, as if the universe itself held its breath. "James, she started, her voice trembling. "Don't," he cut her off, his heart pounding. "I deserve the truth. You owe me that much." Ethan stood nearby, confusion furrowing his brow, and James felt the weight of their family's fracture settle heavily in the air. The laughter and warmth that had once filled their home seemed like a distant memory, overshadowed by this painful reality. "Let's go inside," Laura finally said, her gaze shifting from James to Ethan. "We need to talk, but not here." With a nod, James led the way inside, the door closing behind them like a chapter shutting, sealing in the secrets and the uncertainty of what lay ahead. The sun dipped low in the sky as James sat in his worn kitchen chair, cradling a steaming mug of coffee. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the faint scent of apple pie cooling on the counter, a comforting reminder of simpler times. He took a sip, the warmth spreading through him, but it did little to ease the anxiety gnawing at his insides. Later that evening, after a long day filled with worry, he arrived at the gym to watch Leo's practice. The gym was alive with the sound of sneakers squeaking against the polished floor and the sharp whistle of the coach. But as he scanned the room, his heart sank when he spotted Leo, his grandson, sitting on the bleachers, his face clouded with distress. "Leo," James called, rushing over. "What's wrong, buddy?" Leo looked up, his eyes brimming with tears. I don't want to play anymore," he stammered, his small voice barely above a whisper. "Why not?" James asked, kneeling beside him. "They said I'm too small and that I'll never be good enough," Leo confessed, his voice cracking. James felt a surge of anger rise within him, a protective instinct that surged through every fiber of his being. "Oh my God, Leo, you are so much more than what they say," he said, placing a hand on his grandson's shoulder. "You're brave, and you've got a heart of gold. Don't let them get to you." "But they're bigger," Leo murmured, staring at the ground. "Bigger doesn't mean better," James said firmly, his heart aching for the boy who had so much potential. "You just need to keep trying, and I'll be right here cheering you on." Later that night, when the house was quiet except for the distant chirping of birds settling in for the night, James sat in his living room, still fuming. The thought of those bullies preyed on his mind. How could someone pick on a kid like Leo? He had to do something. He took a deep breath and decided to confront the parents of those bullies at the upcoming town meeting. The night of the meeting arrived, and the community center buzzed with chatter. As James took his place at the front, he could feel the weight of anxious eyes on him. He cleared his throat, trying to steady his nerves. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "I'm here to talk about the bullying that's been happening to our kids, specifically to my grandson, Leo." The room fell silent, but not for long. Whispers erupted, and James could see Michael, his brother, seated in the back, a smirk plastered across his face. "Maybe if Leo was tougher, he wouldn't have this problem," Michael called out, the derision in his voice unmistakable. James felt the heat rise to his cheeks. "That's not what this is about, Michael. Bullying is bullying, regardless of size." "Relax, James. Kids will be kids," Michael retorted, shrugging nonchalantly. James's heart raced, a mix of frustration and disbelief washing over him. "So we should just ignore it? Let it happen? I can't believe you'd say that." The atmosphere shifted. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, but the hostility was palpable. James looked around, seeing nods of disapproval aimed at him. "What's wrong with you people?" he exclaimed, feeling the walls close in. "We should be protecting our kids, not letting them suffer in silence." The tension in the room thickened as Laura, his ex-wife, stood up, her voice cutting through the air like a knife. "James, you're making a scene. This isn't helping anyone." "Is that what you think?" he shot back, incredulous. "You know what? You're right. This isn't helping anyone, especially not Leo." Suddenly, the weight of Laura's presence bore down on him, a reminder of all the betrayals that had led to this moment. He could see the glint of something hidden behind her charming facade, a secret she had yet to reveal. In the kitchen, it hurt like hope. "James, listen," Laura continued, her tone softening, but the mask of concern didn't quite reach her eyes. "There's more to this than you know." "Like what?" he demanded, a knot tightening in his stomach. "I can't tell you here," she replied, her gaze flickering away. "What do you mean you can't?" James pressed, desperation creeping into his voice. "You owe it to me to explain." But before Laura could respond, the crowd began to disperse, leaving him standing alone, his mind racing. As he stepped outside, the fresh grass underfoot felt grounding, but his heart was heavy. Just as he reached his car, he noticed something glinting on the pavement. It was a small, crumpled piece of paper. Curiosity piqued, he picked it up and unfolded it. His breath caught in his throat as he read the words scrawled across the page. "I can't keep this secret anymore. It's Leo's father." James staggered back, the world around him blurring. The revelation hit him like a freight train, shattering everything he thought he knew. James took a deep breath. "We need to have a serious conversation." Laura tensed up. About what, exactly? James stood outside the dry cleaner, his hands stuffed deep in his pockets, as the late afternoon sun hung low in the sky. The scent of fresh grass wafted through the air, mingling with the faint smell of detergent and fabric softener that clung to the building. He had come here hoping for answers, but all he felt was a growing knot of anxiety in his stomach. "Oh my God," he muttered under his breath, trying to steady himself. The last thing he wanted was to confront the owner, but the unease he felt about Leo's new friend demanded action. The boy had been spending time with someone James didn't know much about, a fact that left him increasingly unsettled. As he pushed the door open, the familiar chime of the bell overhead rang out, and he stepped inside. The owner, an older gentleman with a knowing look, glanced up from the counter. "Back again, James?" he asked, a hint of curiosity lacing his tone. James squared his shoulders, determined to get to the bottom of this. "Yes, actually, I need to ask you something about Leo. I've noticed he's been hanging out with a new friend. I'm worried." The man frowned, his gaze shifting momentarily to the window. "Kids make friends, you know, but sometimes those friends come with baggage." James felt his heart sink at the insinuation. "What do you mean by baggage?" he pressed, feeling the tension rise between them. The owner hesitated, glancing around as if expecting someone to overhear. "Listen, I don't want to cause trouble, but I've seen this kid around. He's got a reputation. Just keep an eye on Leo." "Can you be more specific?" James demanded, frustration bubbling over. "I can't protect him if I don't know what I'm dealing with." The owner sighed, rubbing his temples. "I can't say much, but I've seen this kid getting into some questionable situations. It wouldn't hurt to ask Leo about it, but be careful. Kids can be sensitive." "Thank you," James said, his voice barely above a whisper. He left the dry cleaner feeling more lost than ever. The wind chimes outside tinkled softly, but all he could hear was the pounding of his own heart. As he made his way back to his car, a wave of betrayal washed over him. How could Leo not tell him about this new friend, after everything they had shared? All those afternoons spent tossing a football around in the backyard, this felt like a fracture in their bond. Back at home, he sat on the porch, the fading light casting long shadows on the ground. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through pictures of happier times, Leo's birthday party, where they had devoured stacks of pancakes and laughed over silly jokes. The memory felt like a bitter pill to swallow now. Susan arrived just as he was lost in thought. "Hey, you look like you've seen a ghost," she said, taking a seat next to him. "What's going on?" James sighed deeply. "It's Leo. He's been hanging out with this kid, and I just found out there might be trouble. I can't shake this feeling of dread." "Oh, James," Susan said softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. "What did you find out?" "I don't know much, but the dry cleaner hinted that this kid has a bad reputation. I just can't believe Leo would keep this from me. My heart sank when I heard it." "You need to talk to him," she urged. "He's a good kid, but sometimes they don't see the dangers right in front of them." "I know, but how do I approach this without pushing him away?" James pondered aloud, feeling the weight of his responsibilities as a grandfather settling heavily on his chest. "Maybe start by asking what they do together. You could invite them both over, create a safe space for him to talk about it," Susan suggested. James nodded slowly, appreciating her perspective. "That could work. I just hope it's not too late." Suddenly, a thought struck him. What if this is all part of something more? What if Laura knows about this friend and hasn't said a word? His voice trembled with the realization. Susan raised her eyebrows in surprise. "Do you really think she would keep something like this from you, after everything?" "I don't know what to believe anymore," James confessed, frustration spilling over. "It's like I'm piecing together a puzzle with half the pieces missing." Then, just as he was about to voice another concern, a loud crash echoed from the backyard. Both of them jumped to their feet, hearts racing. James rushed toward the sound, his mind racing with possibilities. When he rounded the corner, his breath caught in his throat. There was Leo, standing over a broken wind chime, a mix of guilt and fear on his face. "Grandpa, Before he could finish, James felt a wave of emotion wash over him, a mix of love and concern. "What's going on, Leo?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Leo's eyes darted to the ground, and James could see the turmoil brewing within him. "I didn't mean for this to happen," he whispered. And in that moment, James knew everything was about to change. The pieces of the puzzle were finally coming together, and he wasn't sure if he was ready for the picture they would reveal. The bell over the door chimed softly as James stepped into the dry cleaners, a familiar scent of fresh coffee and fabric softener enveloping him. He glanced around, the place buzzing with the sound of hangers clinking and the faint hum of distant traffic filtering through the open window. He could feel the weight of anticipation pressing down on him, a blend of concern and an unfamiliar anxiety that made his heart race. Today was supposed to be simple: pick up Leo's jacket and head home. As he approached the counter, the owner, a woman in her late 50s with a kind smile, greeted him warmly. "Good morning, James. How's everything with you?" "Just looking to pick up my grandson's jacket," he replied, forcing a smile despite the growing unease in his chest. After a brief moment of searching, she handed him the jacket, its fabric crisp and freshly pressed. As he slid his hand into the pocket, something crinkled beneath his fingers. Curiosity piqued, he pulled out a folded note, its edges worn from time. His heart sank as he unfolded it, the words inside shattering his calm. "Dear Leo, you're stronger than you think. Don't let them get to you. Stand up for yourself. You've got this." James's breath hitched in his throat. The note, clearly written in Leo's handwriting, revealed a hidden plan, a plan to confront his bullies. "Oh my God," he thought, a swirl of pride and worry crashing over him. This act of bravery shocked him, but it also worried him deeply. What had pushed his grandson to this point? The last thing he wanted was for Leo to face any more pain. He turned toward the owner, searching for answers. "Do you know anything about this?" he asked, his voice unsteady. The woman shook her head, concern etched on her face. "I'm afraid not, James. I just do the cleaning." James stepped back, the note clutched tightly in his hand. The realization hit him hard. Leo was struggling, and he hadn't even noticed. As he stumbled out of the dry cleaners, the world outside felt different. The distant traffic noise now a cacophony of alarms ringing in his ears. Sitting in his car, the note lay on the passenger seat like a ticking time bomb. He knew he had to talk to someone about this, someone who might understand the turmoil Leo was facing. He reached for his phone and called Susan, his closest friend. "Hey, it's me," he said when she picked up. "I just found something in Leo's jacket that I need to talk about." "Is everything okay?" Susan asked, her voice laced with concern. "Not really. He wrote a note about confronting his bullies. I'm worried sick, Susan. What if something happens?" "James, listen, this is a big deal, but it sounds like Leo is trying to be brave. He needs your support now more than ever," she encouraged. "I know, but I feel like I failed him. How did I not see this coming?" His voice cracked, the weight of guilt heavy on his shoulders. "Maybe you should talk to him, find out what's going on in his head," Susan suggested. "You're his rock, James. He looks up to you." The conversation lingered in his mind as he drove home, the note still haunting him. Once inside, he tossed the jacket onto the couch and sank into his armchair, a sinking feeling in his chest. He couldn't shake the sense of urgency that accompanied the note. He had to confront this. He needed to understand what Leo was facing. Just then, the door creaked open and Michael stepped in, a smirk plastered on his face. "Hey, what's with the long face, bro? Did you lose a bet or something?" Michael joked, but the lightness in his tone didn't reach his eyes. "Michael, this isn't the time," James replied, irritation creeping into his voice. "I just found a note from Leo about facing his bullies." Michael's expression shifted, momentarily dropping the facade. "You're kidding, right? He's just a kid. What does he know about standing up for himself?"
"More than you think," James shot back, anger flaring. "He's trying to fight his battles, and I need to help him, not like you ever cared." Michael's eyes darkened,
the jealousy he harbored bubbling to the surface. "Oh, please, you act like you're the perfect granddad. You think I don't care? I just don't want to see him get hurt because of some misguided sense of bravery." James took a deep breath, trying to keep his composure. "It's not misguided, Michael. It's courage, something you wouldn't understand." The tension in the room crackled like static, and James could feel the walls closing in. He needed to break the cycle of resentment and pain that had plagued their family for too long. He needed to be there for Leo, to show him that standing up didn't mean standing alone. "Look, I'll talk to Leo. We need to figure this out together," James finally said, his voice steady. "It's time to break the cycle." As Michael turned away, James felt the stirrings of hope mixed with the weight of uncertainty. The note still lay on the coffee table, a reminder of the battle ahead, not just for Leo, but for their entire family. As James stepped into the backyard, the familiar smell of morning coffee mingled with the crisp autumn air. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a warm golden hue over the leaves that fluttered gently in the breeze. He wrapped his hands around the mug, feeling the warmth seep into his palms, hoping it would thaw the chill that had settled in his heart since he found that note in Leo's jacket. His mind raced, filled with thoughts of his grandson and the unexplainable turmoil he sensed. The distant sound of traffic echoed in the background, a stark contrast to the stillness that enveloped him. James could feel the weight of betrayal pressing down on him, a palpable force that made his heart sink. "Oh my God," he thought, "how could this happen to Leo?" Determined to protect him, James knew he had to take action. He sat down at the weathered picnic table, the surface rough beneath his fingertips, and began to formulate a plan. It was time to address the bullying that had been plaguing the kids in the neighborhood, especially Leo. He envisioned a community meeting, a gathering of parents who had faced similar issues, all seeking a solution. As he scribbled down notes, he thought of Laura. Their history was complicated, filled with moments of charm and deceit, but above all, she was still Leo's mother. Reaching out to her was a necessary step, even if it felt like walking into a minefield. He could still hear her voice echoing in his mind, full of confidence and allure. Just then, the sound of footsteps approached. It was Susan, his loyal friend, her expression warm yet concerned as she stepped into the backyard. "James," she said softly, "you look like you're carrying the weight of the world. What's going on?" James sighed, the weight of his emotions spilling out. "I found something in Leo's jacket, Susan, a note. He's being bullied, and I can't just sit back and let this happen." Susan's brow furrowed with worry. "Have you talked to him about it?" "No, not yet. I want to organize a meeting with other parents first. It feels like the right move." He looked into her eyes, searching for support. "I can't believe this is happening. My heart sank when I read those words. It's like I failed him." Susan placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "You haven't failed him, James. You're stepping up when it matters most. That's what a grandfather does." He nodded, appreciating her encouragement, but the unease lingered. Cultural reflection. In the backyard, it hurt like strength, a paradox of emotions stirring within him. As they discussed the details of the meeting, the conversation shifted. Susan shared stories of her own family, tales of resilience and love. It reminded James of his past, a time when family bonds felt unbreakable. He thought of Sarah, the mother of his children, and an integral part of their lives. "Have you thought about reaching out to Sarah?" Susan asked gently, breaking his reverie. "It might help to have her support as well." James felt a twinge of nostalgia. "Yeah, I suppose it's time to reconnect. We need to heal those old wounds, for Leo's sake." "Absolutely," Susan replied, her voice filled with understanding. "You two have always been stronger together." Suddenly, a realization struck James. He could invite Sarah to the meeting, not just for support, but to unite their family against the challenges they faced. "You're right, I'll call her," he said, a flicker of hope igniting within him. As he prepared to make the call, the weight of the note still lingered in his mind. It wasn't just about Leo's current struggles, it was a reflection of the fractures in their family. Thought, the smell of fresh coffee brought painful memories, but perhaps it could also brew a new beginning. James stepped back into the house, the door creaking softly behind him. He could feel the tension building, the anticipation of change in the air. He picked up the phone, hesitating for a moment before dialing Sarah's number. When she picked up, her voice was warm, yet distant. "James, it's been a while. What's going on?" He took a deep breath, feeling the gravity of the moment. "Sarah, I need to talk to you about Leo. There's something we need to face together." The silence on the other end hung heavy, thick with unspoken emotions. He could almost hear her heart racing, just as his was. "I'm listening," she finally replied, her voice steady but cautious. "Let's meet. I'm organizing a community meeting about the bullying at school. It's time we come together for him." As the conversation unfolded, James felt a sense of purpose returning to him. He had taken the first step toward reclaiming their family unity, one that had been frayed by time and resentment. In that moment, he realized that strength came not just from confronting challenges, but from mending the ties that bound them. The journey ahead would be difficult, but with Susan's support and Sarah's involvement, they could face whatever lay ahead for Leo. James stepped outside again, feeling the sunlight warm his face. That moment in the backyard changed everything, sparking a resolve within him to protect his family and his grandson. He smiled, knowing that this time they would not face their trials alone. James clenched her fists. "I don't want to hear any more excuses." Laura hung his head. "I'm truly sorry." The community center buzzed with a low murmur as James stepped inside, his heart racing and hands clammy. The scent of fresh coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the faint smell of cleaning products from a nearby table where volunteers were setting up refreshments. He could hear the distant traffic outside, a reminder of the world continuing on while he felt trapped in this whirlwind of emotions. Today was the day he would confront everything that had been eating away at him. Spotting Laura across the room, James felt a rush of mixed emotions: betrayal, anger, and the slightest tinge of nostalgia. She was chatting animatedly with another parent, her laughter drawing people in like moths to a flame. It was hard to believe that the woman he once loved could harbor such deceit. He had to put that aside now. Leo needed him. As the meeting began, the air grew thick with tension. James stood up, gripping the edges of the table. "I need to address something important," he called out, his voice cutting through the chatter. "This isn't just about our kids, it's about their safety." He glanced at the parents of the bullies, who shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "I have evidence of the bullying Leo has faced." A murmur swept through the crowd. "What evidence?" someone called out, skepticism lacing their tone. With a deep breath, James pulled out his phone, displaying the messages and images Leo had shared with him. "Look at this," he said, determination fueling his words. "We can't let this slide. We need to stand together against this behavior." Laura crossed her arms, a smirk playing on her lips. "Oh, come on, James. You can't seriously think this is going to help. Bullying is just part of growing up." James felt his heart sink at her dismissive attitude. "This isn't just growing up, Laura. This is hurting kids. Our kids." His voice trembled slightly as he fought back the emotions threatening to overwhelm him. Before he could say more, Leo's voice rang out, clear and brave. "I want to say something." All eyes turned to him. The room fell silent as Leo stepped forward, his small frame exuding a strength that surprised everyone. "I'm Leo, and I've been bullied for a long time. I didn't want to say anything because I was scared." James's heart swelled with pride, his earlier worries dissipating as he watched his grandson take control of the situation. "But I'm not alone anymore," Leo continued. My new friend has been there for me, even when I felt like I had no one." At that moment, Leo's new friend, a boy named Sam, stood up beside him. "I'm Sam," he said, his voice steady. "We've both felt pressure to fit in and be someone we're not. We support each other because we know what it's like." James couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Oh my God," he whispered to himself, a wave of relief washing over him. This unexpected alliance was a powerful statement against the bullying they had faced. The parents of the bullies exchanged uneasy glances, their previous bravado faltering in the face of such honesty. James felt the tide turning, the energy in the room shifting from hostility to solidarity. "Thank you for standing up," James said, his voice thick with emotion as he looked at Leo and Sam. "You two are incredibly brave." As the meeting progressed, parents began to speak up, sharing their own experiences and concerns. The atmosphere transformed, moving from defensive to supportive. James felt a sense of hope blooming, something he hadn't felt in a long time. But just as the meeting seemed to be heading in the right direction, Michael entered the room. His presence felt like a storm cloud, darkening the air. "What's going on here?" he demanded, eyes narrowing as he took in the scene. "Michael, we're discussing the bullying," James said, trying to maintain his composure. "Discussing? More like fabricating drama," Michael shot back, his jealousy bubbling to the surface. "You always think you know best, don't you?" James felt his heart race again, a mix of anger and concern for Leo. "This isn't about me, Michael. It's about Leo and what he's going through. You should be supporting him." "You don't understand anything," Michael snapped, stepping closer, his voice rising. "You're too wrapped up in your own little world to see the truth." In that moment, James realized how deep Michael's resentment ran. It was a bitter twist he hadn't expected from his own brother. The tension in the room escalated, but James was determined not to let it derail the progress they had made. "Listen," James said firmly, his voice steady. "This isn't about you or me. It's about our family coming together to support Leo. We need to unite against bullying, not against each other." The room fell silent, the weight of his words hanging in the air. James's heart raced with the uncertainty of what would happen next, but he knew that he couldn't back down. The battle was far from over, but today felt like a step in the right direction. The morning sun streamed through the kitchen window, illuminating the remnants of breakfast as James stood on the porch, a steaming mug of coffee cradled in his hands. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, mingling with the distant sounds of birds chirping in the trees, a melody of normalcy that felt all too foreign after the whirlwind of emotions he had navigated. His heart was heavy, yet a flicker of hope ignited within him. As he sipped his coffee, memories flooded back, of laughter, pancakes flipping on the griddle, and Leo's innocent smile lighting up their family gatherings. But those moments felt tainted now, marred by the revelation he had unearthed. The note in Leo's jacket had shattered his world, exposing the hidden darkness that had been brewing beneath the surface. "James?" Susan's voice broke through his reverie, her footsteps on the wooden porch interrupting his thoughts. "How are you holding up?" "I don't know, Susan," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I thought I knew everything about my family, but this changes everything. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening." Susan stepped closer, her eyes filled with concern. "You have to talk to Leo. He needs you more than ever right now. And maybe you should consider talking to Laura too. She might have insights that could help." James nodded, but the thought of facing Laura again filled him with dread. Their history was complicated, marked by charm and deceit, and the weight of her secrets now felt unbearable. But for Leo, he had to muster the strength. The porch creaked underfoot as he shifted, a reminder that life continued to move forward, even when he felt frozen in place. "Do you really think I should?" he asked, uncertainty lacing his words. "After everything that's happened?" "Absolutely," Susan replied firmly. "You need to come together as a family. especially now that the community is waking up to these issues. Parents are starting to form support groups, which is a step in the right direction. You can be part of that change." James took a deep breath, the smell of pancakes wafting in from the kitchen, a bittersweet reminder of happier mornings. He thought about Leo, how much he loved his grandson, and the determination surged within him. "You're right. I can't let fear dictate my actions. I need to be there for Leo." As they stood on the porch, a plan began to form. James would reach out to Laura, and together they would create a support system for Leo. They would break the cycle of trauma that had haunted their family for too long. He could already envision the community gathering, parents sharing their stories, supporting one another in the fight against bullying, and standing united for their children. Days passed, and James found himself at the community center again, a sense of purpose propelling him forward. Parents gathered in groups, sharing their experiences, their fears, and their hopes for their children's futures. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of vulnerability and strength, and James felt a connection to these strangers, all bound by a shared desire to protect their kids. But as he scanned the room, his gaze landed on Laura. She was standing by the entrance, her expression unreadable. The air thickened with tension as she caught his eye, and he felt his heart race. This was the moment they would confront their past and work toward a better future for Leo. "James," she said softly, approaching him, "I've been thinking a lot about everything, about us, about Leo. I want to help." He nodded, swallowing hard. "I want that too. I can't shake the feeling of betrayal. You kept secrets that changed everything." "I know," Laura replied, her voice trembling, "but I didn't want to burden you. I thought I was protecting you and Leo." James exhaled slowly, the weight of the past still heavy on his shoulders. "But we're stronger together, right? We need to unite for him." "Yes," she agreed, a glimmer of hope in her eyes, "for Leo." As they began to discuss plans for the support group, the warmth of the morning sun enveloped them, and James felt a flicker of optimism. Maybe they could build something better. Something that would heal not just Leo, but their entire family. In that moment, James realized that healing was not a linear path. It would take time, effort, and vulnerability. But as he looked around the room, witnessing the strength of the community coming together, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. "Together, we can make a difference," he said, determination in his voice. And as the sun set that evening, casting a golden hue over the horizon, James understood that hope was not just a feeling. It was a commitment to change, to growth, and to love. And you, on your porch, what will you do to break the cycle of silence and support those you love? James smiled for the first time in days. "Everything will be okay." Laura nodded. "You're stronger than you know."